Hello, everyone. You know, it's funny how life can throw you these curveballs right when you think you have it all figured out. For me, it's my wedding, one of the most joyous occasions anyone could anticipate. But right now, I'm standing at a crossroads that's turning this excitement into a knot of anxiety. Do I make my brother the best man at my wedding, or stick to my two lifelong friends who I believe deserve that title just as much, if not more? Let me take you back a few months. My fiancée, Sarah, and I were deep in planning the wedding, counting down the days to our big August ceremony. I was thrilled because, let's be real, marrying my best friend is something I dreamed about since we started dating. She's kind, patient, and has been my rock through thick and thin. But sitting at our kitchen table, we wandered into the territory of best men, which, for me, felt like navigating a minefield. You see, I have two guys who mean the world to me, Mike and Jake. They've been my confidants since middle school, and I mean really, we've been through everything together. I still remember the time in 7th grade when Mike stood up for me during lunch when some bullies were teasing me about my awkward phase. No matter what, I could always count on them to have my back, to remind me that I wasn't alone. For a long time, I grappled with the decision of who would take that best man title, and then I had an epiphany. Why not both? It felt like a fair compromise because they both truly deserved it. But then there's my older brother, Alex, who has been lurking in the background of this decision. Now, Alex and I had a complicated relationship growing up, to say the least. Sure, we shared some good memories, playing video games after school, those rare moments when he'd take me to get ice cream or teach me how to ride a bike. But alongside those, there was bullying that felt more like torment at times. I remember crying alone in my room, questioning whether it was normal for a brother to make you feel so worthless. As we got older, things didn't get much better. A few years back, my mom and I moved in with him during a rough patch, and things quickly soured. I mean, here we were, feeling vulnerable and displaced, and he decided to treat us like unwanted guests in his palace. The day he yelled at us to get out of his house, while we were frequently interrupted by our moving truck. Yeah, I still cringe thinking about it. And then there was the infamous face slap during that perfectly harmless drive from a concert in Chicago. I was just trying to say no to staying over at his place, and suddenly I felt the sting of his frustration across my cheek. It made me question everything about our relationship. Fast forward a bit, and Alex had a baby with his girlfriend, and to my surprise, he seemed to become a better version of himself. He started showing more empathy and care, and for the first time in years, I felt I could look at him without lingering resentment. We started having fun, joking around like we used to, yet I still remember the backdrop of our tumultuous history, which made things complicated. So, when I finally brought up the possibility of my best friends being my best men to my mom and grandma, the air went stale. They pushed me hard on the tradition of selecting the brother. Family comes first, they insisted, and I could see the fear in their eyes of what might happen if I chose otherwise. My grandma, bless her heart, worried that this might create a rift that would never heal. But here's the kicker, it's my wedding. It's about who I want standing next to me when I say I do, right? Sarah echoed that sentiment. She encouraged me to follow my heart. Yet, the reality hit that Alex was likely expecting to be made the best man. His girlfriend had casually mentioned it to me. That left me with a pit in my stomach, because I knew if I told him he wasn't the best man, there was a real possibility of him blowing up. I just couldn't shake the feeling of helplessness. Now, as the wedding gets closer, this issue looms large in my mind. Do I risk hurting my brother's feelings, considering our history? Or do I succumb to the pressure of familial duty and make him the best man, even if my heart isn't in it? Sarah and I discussed this long and hard, and while she stood firmly in my corner, I couldn't escape the worry that my decision would ruin our fragile brotherly bond. Imagining the fallout made me anxious. I dreaded bringing this up with Alex. Would he throw a tantrum and make a scene? Would it affect my entire family dynamic? I often sat in silence, pondering everything that led us here, replaying each bullying moment, each negative experience like a broken record, and yet part of me craved that connection, a desire to heal. So, I'm here, seeking your wisdom. If you were in my shoes, what would you do? Would you prioritize the relationship with your brother despite the past? Or would you stand firm on what feels right for your special day? I guess I just need to hear that I'm not alone in this feeling because it's tearing me apart trying to balance love, loyalty, and life. What would you do if you were me?